Greatness belongs to those that are ready and committed to taking action with the resources that God has endowed them with, rather than waiting on God for extra resources. Growing up, we have been conditioned to wait on God for almost anything, almost everything we want. We have been told that we should wait on God for it. For example, if you need food, you wait on God. If you need to pay house rent, you wait on God. If you need to pay school fees, you wait on God. And it goes on like that. So, for the fact that we have been repeatedly told that we are to wait on God for almost everything, that has deeply rooted in us to the point that uh, we have forgotten that God doesn't owe us anything other than oxygen. We are made to believe that there's nothing we can do for ourselves. Rather, everything is in the hands of God to do for us. But the people that are feeding us with such ideology of waiting on God are not really waiting on God. Take our pastors, for example. Do you think that your pastors are really waiting on God? They are not waiting on God. In their speech or in their preaching, you might be thinking that they are waiting on God, but their action is telling a different story entirely. Let's take Bishop Oyedepo for example. Love him. I'm not trying to judge him or saying anything against him, but I love the fact that the man is a workaholic himself. I love the fact that he is a hard worker. Apart from having a mega church, one of the biggest church in the whole world, he still has a lot of businesses that he is doing. He's not waiting on God. Here is why. Do you think that somebody that is waiting on God to do things for him while he is folding hands, do you think that someone that is waiting on God will spend uh, a sleepless night to be writing books that will be so captivating to catch your attention to buy? Do you think someone that is waiting on God will spend sleepless night to write and prepare a sermon to preach without saying, "Oh, since I'm waiting on God, let God write the sermon for me, let God write the book for me"? Do you think someone that is waiting on God will do such? Do you think someone that is waiting on God will have a lot of businesses that is helping him to make impact in the world? When we are talking about impact, Bishop Oyedepo is one of the uh, great men that is making impact in the world. And he is not doing that by waiting on God. He is a hard worker. In fact, he is a workaholic. He spent sleepless nights to do things, to think and plan his businesses, to prepare sermon, to prepare a book, to write a book, and a whole lot of things. That is not an attribute of someone that is waiting on God. And if you and I on a journey of self-reliance, someone that wants to be self-sufficient, if you and I want to get to that level, then the idea of waiting on God should be an obsolete idea in our mind. Someone that is looking forward to do great things with his life cannot just sit around and be saying, I'm waiting on God, I'm believing God for job, believing God for food, I'm believing God for house rent and all of that. No, such person is not waiting on God. So because of that, I'm going to share with us um, 5 reasons why we should not wait on God for resources to make things happen for ourselves and to make impact in the world. First of all, um, if you have not been a part of this movement of self-reliance, uh, ensure to subscribe so that you can be updated and be notified whenever we put up a video, and then ensure to uh, join our WhatsApp channel so that you can be updated too, because we do share information as to how to move on our journey on WhatsApp too. So do well to link up with us on WhatsApp channel too. So now, to begin with, let's look at the scenario. Let's imagine this scenario. There's a master and there's a servant. The master wants the servant to travel to a foreign country, a country that the servant has not been to before. So the master wants his servant to go there on his behalf to do great things in that foreign land. Please pay attention. So the master wants the servant to go to the foreign land to represent him and do great things there, to execute a task. So on the day that the servant is to go, the master says that you should be going. When you get to the foreign land that I want you to go to, then when you get there, just be begging me for the resources and the tools that you need to work with them. Just be crying to me, just be praying to me, just be begging me. The more you beg me, the better you stand the chance to receive the tools and the resources to work with in that foreign land. And then the servant obeyed the master and then went for his journey. On getting there, he kept begging the master, crying to the master, praying to the master, "Sir, please send the tools and the resources that I need to work with in the foreign land." Now, look at the condition of the master and that of the servant. Do you think that master is a compassionate master or a wicked master? Just use your church mind to tell me that whether the master that expects his servant to go to the foreign land and do something there, instead of him to give him the tools and the resources while he was going, he said that when you get there, just beg me, just cry to me, just pray to me, and the more you beg me, the better you stand the chance of receiving the tools and the resources to work with. Just imagine that. Is that master a wicked master or a compassionate master? If you would use your church mind like me, that master is a wicked master, because he knows that the servant is going to leave his place to the foreign land? Why not giving him the tools? Why not giving him the resources to work with? Instead of telling him that you should be going, when you get to the foreign land, I will send you the resources and the tools that you have to work with. If any master can do like that, that master is a wicked master. A compassionate master will not do like that. And that is how you and I have been painting the image of God. We see God as a master that will send us from heaven to the earth. Instead of giving us the tools and the resources to work with on earth, then he decided to say that, okay, when you get to the earth, be begging me for the tools, be begging me for the resources to work with, be crying to me, be praying to me, be begging me. The more you beg me, the better you stand the chance to have the tools and the resources to work with being delivered to you. If God is like that, then God is a wicked being. But God is not a wicked being. It is just you and I that is painting the image of God to be a wicked master that will send us to a foreign land and expect us to be begging him, crying to him for resources, for the tools, before we can execute the task that he sent us to execute. So God is not like that. God is a compassionate being that wants the best for us. He wants us to make impact. He wants us to reach the world in in a way that he himself cannot reach. That was why he created us as an extension of himself, so that he can be able to reach the places that he himself cannot reach by himself through us. That was why he created us. He created us as an extension of himself, to be able to do the things that he himself will not do for himself, but through us, he can do those things. So now, if God is a compassionate being that has our best in mind, then I have 5 reasons why you and I should not be waiting on God any longer. We should not be waiting on God for resources. We should not be waiting on God for tools. So the number one reason why you and I should stop waiting on God for resources is the fact that, number one, is the fact that both the tools and the resources that we are to work with here on earth had been given to us by God on our way here. God has given us those things. We are not to beg him, oh God, send the tools, God send the food, God send the resources, God send the Nepal bill, God send the job. God, like, we are not to wait on him for those things, because God is not a wicked being to send us all the way from heaven and say, oh, God, just be going, just be going. When you get there, beg me before I will send you the tools. Beg me before I will send you the resources. Sometimes ago, I had a cousin that was living with me, and we wanted to cook. And I told him to go and buy something so that we can cook. And then I also told him that I will send money to his account, so he should go with his ATM. Then he left. As soon as he left uh, the room, I sent the money to him immediately. But for the fact that he got there and he didn't get the alert immediately, he didn't see the message. He felt that I have not sent the money. So he was waiting. He was waiting. And then it got to the point that he had to call me. Then he called me and asked me whether I have sent the money. I told him that I have sent the money as soon as he left the room. But for the fact that he did not receive the alert, he felt reluctant to use the ATM. So he was waiting for me to send the money while the money has been sent already. And many of us are like that. God has given us the tools and the resources. God has sent us those things, but we are still waiting just because we have not seen the evidence, just because we have not seen the alert. we believe that the tools and the resources we need to change our life and to make our own contribution to the world, we tend to believe that those resources has not been sent. So today I am moved to tell you that the tools and the resources that you and I need to make the most of our life on earth, those resources and the tools had been given to us. Stop waiting on God. So that's number one reason why you and I should stop waiting on God. The second reason is the fact that God Himself is waiting on you and I to make use of the resources that He has endowed us with. So if you and I think that we are the one doing the waiting, we are the one waiting on God, then I beg to tell you that that is not true. You are not the one that's supposed to wait on God, or you are not the one actually waiting on God. God is the one waiting on you. And why is He waiting on us? Why is He waiting on you? Why is He waiting on me? God is waiting on us because of the fact that He has given us the tools and the resources to work with. He is expecting us to discover the tools, the resources, the potential that He has loaded us with, so that we can offload them in the world. So He is earnestly waiting on us to discover those tools and the resources that He has given us on our way here. So we are not the one doing the waiting. There was a time that I told one of my friends that during the weekend, let's hang out and uh, share some ideas. He agreed. And then when the weekend reached, though I told him that, okay, when you are ready, just come to my place, then we go together. But he forgot that part. When the weekend, on Saturday precisely, when on Saturday that we were supposed to go out, finally arrived, he was waiting for me to come to his place. And I myself, I was waiting for him to come to my place so that we can go. But he was waiting for me at his own place, and while I am also waiting for him at my own place. So imagine, he is waiting for me, and also I am waiting for him too. Do you think that it will be possible for us to go out if we continue waiting for each other? I'm waiting for him at my place, and he is waiting for me at his place. Do you think it will be possible for us to go out that day? But I waited to the point that I could not see him, so I decided to go to his house. before we were able to go out that day. But what if I decided not to go to his place and he decided not to come? We will we would end up not going out that day. And the same thing is happening between us and God. We are waiting on God, while God Himself is waiting on us. We are waiting on God for the resources that He has given us already, for the tools and the potential that He has given us already. And then He Himself is waiting for us to discover those tools and the resources as well as the potential that He has given us. How would that possible? So, I want you to know that the second reason why you should not wait on God is the fact that He Himself is waiting on you to realize the resources and the tools that He has loaded you with. So that is number two. The third reason why you and I should stop waiting on God is the fact that the more we wait, the more we do the waiting, the more we waste our lives, the more we waste the resources and the tools that He has already given us. Some people had waited on God right from the time that they were born till they were 70, 80, they were waiting. They could not do anything with their life. If you ask them, what are you up to now? They'll say, I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God for job. I'm waiting on God for what He wants me to do with my life. I'm waiting on God. I'm waiting on God. And that was how they waited on God until the death took them away from life. Until the death took them away from the world, they were waiting. I'm waiting on God to hear what He will wants me to do with my life. I'm waiting on God for a job. I'm waiting on God for house rent. I'm waiting on God for the business. I'm waiting on God for the investment. But those people that are shaping the world, those people that are moving the world forward, are not waiting on God. Can you imagine Elon Musk waiting on God to start a business, to start an investment? Can you imagine Burna Boy waiting on God to write a new song or to sing a new song? Can you imagine Dangote waiting on God to start his refinery, to start his businesses? Of course not. They will not wait because they know within themselves that they have been loaded by God. The tools and the resources have been given to them by God. All they need to do now is to go out there all out with all their might to make happen the thing that God expects them to make happen in the world before they wave back to the world. So, waiting on God wastes your life, your resources, and the tools for which you are supposed to go to work with. So, you and I, if we don't want to waste our life and the resources that God has endowed us with, then the idea of waiting on God should not register in our memory, should not be registered in our mind at all. So that's number three. The fourth reason why you and I should stop waiting on God to do things and to change our life and to change the world is the fact that waiting on God limits the impact of God on earth through us. I started by telling us that God created us as an extension of Himself to do things that He Himself cannot do by Himself, but through us, He can do those things. So, by waiting on God, we are limiting the impacts that we are supposed to make on earth for God. We are limiting the impact that God wants to make on earth through us. Some people were sent here to the world to become a great investor, to become a great pastor, to become a great bishop. But for the fact that they were waiting on God, they could not realize that the resources and the tools they need had already been sent to them. So they were waiting. And while they were waiting, the death took them away. Then the impact for which they were supposed to make here on earth, they could not make that impact. That impact has wasted away. So waiting on God makes you to waste the impact that God wants to make on earth through you. So we should not wait on God for those resources and the tools, because those things have been given to us. And then lastly, number 5, the fifth reason why we should not wait on God is the fact that that idea of waiting on God itself is an ideology made by a human being like you and I. That is an ideology of man. Waiting on God is a man-made ideology. So that is the fifth reason why you should not wait on God. Waiting on God is a man-made ideology created by men that wants to control the rest of us. People that want to get us under their own mercy, to get us, people that want to get us under their own control, under their own influence, convinced us, they programmed us, they brainwashed us that we are supposed to wait on God. If you want food, wait on God. If you need to pay your rent, wait on God. If you need to pay your NEPA bill, wait on God. If you need a job, wait on God. So they programmed us to keep us in the sea of mediocrity, while they are scaling up, they are making impact with their own life. And by so doing, we will end up being under their control. So that was the reason why they came up with that ideology. They came up with the ideology that, oh, okay, let's try to uh, suppress the impact of the rest of the world in order for us to have in order for us to have control over them. Then they came up with the idea of waiting on God, so that while you are waiting on God, you will be wasting away, and your resources, your life, your tools for which you are supposed to work with will be wasting away, and then they will have you under their control. People that we are trying to emulate, people that are moving the world forward, people that are shaping the shape of the world, that you and I are idolizing or aspiring to be like. Those people are not waiting on God. Those people are not waiting on God. Whenever an idea comes to their mind to do things to change their own life and to make impact in the world, they act on it swiftly. They act on it quickly without wasting time. They will not come and be telling you that, oh, I'm waiting on God to start this business. I'm waiting on God to invest in this new startup. No, they will not tell you that. They will take action promptly. So, if you and I is to make impact in the world as our own contribution to the world, idea of waiting on God should not be registered in us. We have to disown that idea. So, in a nutshell, the tools and the resources that you and I need to make impact with our life had been given to us. And secondly, God is waiting on you and I to know that, or to discover that those tools and the resources as well as the potential had been given to us on our way here. So we don't need to wait on him for those resources, those tools, and be crying to him, oh God, send the tools, God, send the resources. Thirdly, waiting on God is a way of wasting your life. People have wasted their life by waiting on God. They don't know when it became they don't know when they see themselves at age 70. They were waiting on God right from when they were young. They waited until they are 70, until they are 80, 90. Then they died. All in the process of waiting on God. So the fourth thing that I said is the fact that waiting on God limits the impact that God would have made through you. So that is the first thing that I told you. I want you to hack onto it. Waiting on God limits your impact and your life. So on our journey of self-reliance, which God wants us to embark on, we should not waste our life and our resources by waiting on God. We should go to work with the resources and the tools that we already have. I started this video by saying that greatness belongs to those that are ready and committed to taking action with the resources and tools that have been given to them by God, rather than waiting on God for extra resources. So you should not wait on God. And lastly, what I have shared with you is the last thing that I shared, which is number 5, the fact that that idea of waiting on God is a man-made ideology to limit you and I. So please, if we want to reach the peak of life that God has for you and I, because whether you know it or you believe it, our days are numbered. God knows the day and the time that you will leave this earth. And when that time comes, no matter how you beg God, no matter how you cry to God, no matter the intensity of prayer that people may be praying for you, you want to die, you want to leave the earth, because your days are numbered. Likewise to mine, likewise to your friends, your loved ones. Our days are numbered. And if we keep waiting on God for the resources that He had already given us, we are going to be wasting away. We are not going to do those things that He sent us here to do. The people that are selling you and I on those ideology of waiting on God are not waiting at all. They are not waiting. They are busy writing books. They are busy starting businesses. They are busy preparing a captivating sermon to preach to you. And that is not bad. They are doing their job. But I don't want you and I to copy what the preacher is saying. We should rather copy the action of the preacher. The pastor might be telling you that, oh, you should be waiting on God for house rent. You should be waiting on God for job. You should be waiting on God for business. Can you see him waiting on God for those things that he's telling you to wait? That is why you should not emulate their words, but emulate their action. Our preachers in this part of the world are not lazy. They are working tirelessly. While you are sleeping, they are preparing sermon. While you are sleeping, they are having sleepless nights to write a book, to plan a business. They are not lazy. They are workaholic. They are not waiting on God. So don't judge them by what they are telling you, what they are preaching. Judge them by their action. Copy their action, not their words. That is why they said action speaks louder than words. It's not bad to have a mentor as a pastor, because our pastors are valuable in a society. They are helping us to shape the image of the society. But most of some of the ideology that they are pushing into us to adapt to are not really helpful. So we should not be uh, copying what they are saying. We should be copying their action. They are not lazy. They are not waiting on God to come and pay their house rent. They are starting their own business. They have businesses. They are doing great things with their life. They are not waiting on God. So that business that you are to start, I want you to debunk the idea of waiting on God. I'm waiting on God to start the business. I'm waiting on God to pay my house rent. Stop all those ideas. You have to come up with the idea and then go to work with that idea that God has given you, because God has given us everything. And that is why Apostle Paul says that everything that is pertaining to life and godliness had been given to us by God. Nothing is left for God to give us. God doesn't owe us anything again apart from oxygen. And if you're waiting on Him for those things that you can do for yourself, you're going to be waiting till the second coming of Jesus Christ. It is not that God cannot do most of those things that it's not that God cannot do those things that you are begging Him for, but for the fact that He has empowered us to do those things for ourselves, He's not going to come and do those things for us, because there's a truth in the fact that what God cannot do does not exist. But we should also know that there are things that God will not do for us, and not that He cannot do them, but for the fact that He has empowered us, He has equipped us to do those things for ourselves, He's not going to do them, because He has put us in a position to do those things for ourselves and our fellow human being. So He's not going to do those things, despite the fact that He can do them. So while you are running with the idea of waiting on God, what God cannot do does not exist, while you are running with those ideology, you should also know that truly there's nothing God cannot do. But there are things that He will not do for you. Not that He cannot do them, but He will not do them because He has put you and I in a position to do those things for ourselves. So I believe that this video has been of help to you. You have seen or you have heard the reason why uh, the idea of waiting on God should not be something that we should be going to work with again. We should debunk that idea from our mind. You have seen that. So go through what I've shared so far with you, and then if you have suggestion, you can leave it on the comment section. I don't know, or and then share this video with someone that needs to hear this, someone that needs to be part of this movement of self-reliance and self-sufficiency. And also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, do well to subscribe as we do put new insightful videos weekly on this channel. So God bless you for staying with me till this time. Until next time, peace.